What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of NFL Turf Talk. Today, we are going to be going over one of the best divisions across the National Football League from last season in the NFC North. 3 playoff teams, a rookie quarterback. Can he improve this year? An offensive coordinator goes from one rival to another as a head coach. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to add them to our NFL tier list. Who's a Super Bowl contender? Who's a playoff contender? Are there any duds in this division? And then at the end, as always, we will do our fantasy divisional draft, which is always fun. So make sure to stick around that, guys. This is being streamed to you, not live, but pre-recorded on our NFL Turf Talk YouTube channel and the DSM Media Twitter channel. You can always find us at DSM_media on Twitter there. So make sure to follow and subscribe. We're not ignoring your thoughts, comments, and questions if you're trying to comment along. It's not live, but my man, what is going on? Happy Tuesday, and the NFL season is shortly upon us.
Yes, sir. Happy Tuesday. You mentioned it. The NFL will be starting in roughly about 2 weeks and 2 days. Am I calculating that right? It's
Sounds
Tuesday
correct.
Next week. Yeah, the week after next.
Math smacking.
Two Thursdays from now, or 3 Thursdays from now. Yeah, let's go with that. You know what I mean. Nonetheless, the Cowboys-Eagles Thursday night, opening night for the NFL.
I think it's 2 Thursdays, right?
Is it 2? Is it doubleheader? Or they got them playing at the same time?
I don't know. No, I meant 2 weeks. I meant 2 weeks. Yeah.
I got you. Let's just move on. Nonetheless, day's going great, Dylan. We got into math there, and that is just the wrong rabbit hole to go down.
Not our expertise.
So, yeah, I'll stick to football talk today. But happy to be here, man. You mentioned it, one of the top divisions in the NFL. You could argue that all 4 of these teams could be playoff teams.
Yeah.
Could. Definitely 3 of the 4, I think we agree, are going to be competing for the playoffs for sure this year. But I'm excited to get into it with you nonetheless. Some interesting quarterback situations, some new weapons around. So we'll discuss how it all shifted around, man. But how's your Tuesday going, my man? Back from the beach?
It's good, man. I'm a little red, tan, peel. I don't know what's going on right now. I need some lotion or something to figure out this problem. But look, let's start with that team that you mentioned that might not quite be in the conversation, but you never know.
Yeah.
That is the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, now newly acquired head coach, and Ben Johnson, obviously coming over from Detroit. They were 4-2 before Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders threw a Hail Mary that gets tipped and caught in the back of the end zone, which seemingly just derails the Bears season. You had the Thanksgiving Day fiasco with them at the end of the game, and the not using a timeout and the clock management in that situation, and they kept going down. What are you looking for from the Bears, from Caleb Williams specifically, with Ben Johnson now to kind of mentor or groom him into the quarterback that he wants? Because you got to remember, this is the future for the Chicago Bears. Yeah. They sold out for Caleb Williams, right? Ben Johnson didn't hand select Caleb Williams. So they got to figure out this relationship. If Ben Johnson, if this is his guy, they don't bring back Keenan Allen. So you're looking at a DJ Moore and a Rome Odunze combination there. What are you looking for from Caleb Williams in year 2?
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point. And I think even further, when you look at Caleb Williams, obviously his hype or his expectations going into that draft. I mean, this is supposed to be a legendary quarterback.
Yes, like a once in a generation type of quarterback.
A generational, that's the word I was looking for. A generational talent that came out of college, came out of USC. And so, yeah, I think the expectations have to be fairly high, quite honestly, from just a statistical and just understanding the position sense and just simply being better than last year. Now, I think a lot of it, Matt Eberflus, you mentioned the coaching mishaps, the timeouts, all of that shit on Thanksgiving. That dude was a freaking mess. Disaster. He was defensive oriented, and I think it's the opposite of what you need when you have a quarterback like Caleb Williams, who's young. He's got to be the focal point of your team. He has to be. He's the number 1 draft pick, right? He's the generational talent, and I think you needed to bring in maybe not. I don't know if we go as far to call Ben Johnson a quarterback guru, but we can call him an offensive guru with what he was orchestrating in Detroit. And I think it's a good setup for Caleb Williams. They've tried to improve the offensive line, which I think was the big thing. But I think even bigger than that is the system, having some quick throw options, getting the ball out fast, him getting through his reads properly. That's going to be stuff that we're going to be looking at with Caleb Williams this year. I do think it was interesting. You pointed out Keenan Allen. It didn't work out. We looked at, this roster going into last year, and we were really excited about DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and, the perspective, Rome Odunze, right, the rookie from last year that was supposed to be outstanding. Now, this year they go kind of a different route. Still DJ Moore, wide receiver 1. You slide Rome up into that wide receiver 2. And now you got the rookie Luther Burden, who's been apparently impressing people at camp. So I'm excited to see what they're able to do offensively. You got the 2 tight end set that they'll be able to run. Yep. So that will help with protection. That will help with running the football by adding Colson Loveland, the rookie tight end, along with Cole Kmet. So yeah, I think I'm sitting here talking about it. I'm hearing it, and I'm looking at like DeAndre Swift. You got Roshan Johnson and Kyle. Is it Monangai? I'm butchering that last name.
Wrong person to ask how to
RB3. Let's go with that. Roshan Johnson is a nice complimentary, kind of bigger back to coincide with DeAndre Swift. So as I'm talking through it, man, a lot of it is going to rely on their offensive line, which they added 3 offensive linemen that could potentially start for this team this year. And it's exactly what they needed to do. They need to protect Caleb Williams first, and then we can see what we get from him in return. But I think there is a lot hinging on Caleb Williams and what he's able to do his sophomore season, because he's not like C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels, who had this, rock star rookie year.
No.
So you can't really afford to have a sophomore slump. You need to have that sophomore year where you are looking better.
Not at all. I mean, I don't know if he can go in a slump. Like, not that.
What if he called a slump, or would it just be who he is?
There were a lot of things wrong with Chicago. You mentioned Eberflus, or probably the biggest issue, right? And they go from a defensive-minded guy, just an absolute. The wrong guy to try to coach Caleb Williams in year 1 from an offensive standpoint. You go from him to Ben Johnson, right, who we saw what he did over the last couple of seasons with Jared Goff and within that offense. And basically, I brought up Keenan Allen as the departure, not because Keenan Allen had a great year and they didn't bring him back, right? He was injured. He, wasn't that successful here in his stint, but the veteran presence, right? DJ Moore is going to have to be that veteran presence type of leadership in wide receiver 1. But Rome Odunze, man, like, we're sitting here talking about Caleb Williams, and for good reason. He's the quarterback. Rome Odunze was a top 9 pick last year.
Yeah.
There's no kid gloves when it comes to a top 9 pick. You have to produce 734 yards on 54 receptions last year. He played every game, only 3 touchdowns. Can that number tick up, and can those guys in year 2 continue to form that relationship, that chemistry? Same thing with DJ Moore, right? Because DJ Moore came over here 2 years ago. Was DJ Moore here in Chicago the year before Caleb came, or was last year?
The year before, because he was with Justin Fields at first.
Yes. So, now DJ Moore year 2 with his quarterback. Can they kind of start to put this together? A lot of it's going to fall on Ben Johnson, like you said, to just kind of get not only creative, but to just simplify things for the kid. Because how many plays could we pull up on YouTube from last season, Scotty, in film of him just running around back to the line of scrimmage, holding onto the ball, taking a 12-yard sack on 2nd and 8, and just making a boneheaded play. Quick reads, get the ball out quickly. You have guys like a DeAndre Swift, like a DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, who you can do that with. And then that can allow things to open up down the field. Like you said, they did try to bolster the offensive line. Joe Thuney's a humongous pickup. So I am interested to see what the Chicago team can do, man, because like I said, they started 4-2. They only won 5 games, Scott. That shit sunk quick last year in Chicago.
Yeah, and to the point of Matt Eberflus, he's a more defensive-minded coach, obviously. Their defense looks pretty solid, man.
Yeah,
like it's going into the season. I mean, I'm looking across their unit. I mean, I'm seeing guys like TJ Edwards. We're very familiar with him. Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker. Their defensive line, Grady Jarrett, Montez Sweat. They got dogs down there. They got guys in their secondary, Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker,
Even
Jalen
a
Johnson.
Kevin Byard. Can Kevin Byard?
Kevin Byard. It didn't work out here, but he rebounded at least once going to Chicago. So, yeah, it's interesting, man. I think if they weren't in this division, we probably would be from the sound of it, we could be a little bit higher on them. So, say if they were in the NFC South, they'd probably win.
Very true. Very true.
So,
let me ask you this to kind of pivot to the next team that I have here to get into. Yeah. If Caleb Williams can excel, can really exceed expectations, if Ben Johnson can transform this offense and this defense is good enough, they get out to a 4-2 start like last year, but they don't let that slip away as poorly as they did.
Yeah.
Can they be better than this next team? That next team is the Minnesota Vikings. And the reason I asked that question is simply the quarterback position. If Caleb Williams can exceed and J.J. McCarthy does not work out in Minnesota, can the Bears be better than Minnesota? Because people talk about the talent all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they won, 14 games last year with Sam Darnold, who at times was playing like an MVP, right? I think they went, let me see. Yeah, they were 14-3, came in second place, a game behind Detroit. So I look at that team last year. I look at the defense. Arguably the best wide receiver in football in Jettas, right? They go out. Obviously, you have Jordan Addison still, TJ Hawkinson, Jalen Naylor now.
I think Ty Felton, is he the rookie wide receiver they drafted?
Yeah. You added Jordan Mason from San Fran to an Aaron Jones in the backfield. The defense, like you mentioned before, add in a Jonathan Allen and a Javon Hargrave to this defensive line.
Yeah.
But we've heard for years now about the roster in Minnesota. Kirk Cousins was there. Sam Darnold had a very, very, very good year last year. If it wasn't good enough then, which winning 14 games, I'm not talking about the regular season. I'm just talking about anything past that.
Yeah.
What is the kid, rookie year essentially, coming off of a major injury? If he doesn't work out, can the Bears be better than Minnesota?
Yes. If J.J. McCarthy does not work out, and I think working out would be what? Maybe
game manager?
Game manager. Yeah. Because I was going to say, like, not as good as Sam Darnold last year, which I think Sam Darnold was better than a game manager last year, to your point.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So, and you know, the big thing when I'm thinking about Sam Darnold, and obviously he's over in Seattle now. He's got his starting role there. But would they have moved on from Sam Darnold if they don't lose to the Rams in the first round of the playoffs, in the wild card round? Do they move off of Sam Darnold if they don't lose that first round playoff game? And the reason I say that is because of your point. You had Kirk Cousins before, just didn't cut it once you got to the postseason. You get to this postseason, have one of the greatest seasons in a while at 14-3. Offense is prolific. Addison and Jay Jettas is just going off. You have Aaron Jones running tough back there. Still first round exit, right? First round wild card weekend exit for the Minnesota Vikings. And so to that point, if you're the Vikings, I guess the thought process is let's try this other option. Our rookie quarterback that looked great in camp last offseason. He apparently looks great in camp this offseason as well, from what I'm seeing in reports. And let's just see if he can be a difference maker. Maybe he can use his legs a little bit more than a Sam Darnold, something like that. I think he could be a make or break situation here, but you do look across to that defensive unit. It does look pretty damn sturdy with the additions they made. You mentioned Hargrave. You mentioned Isaiah Rodgers, who is coming off the Super Bowl win. Jeff Okudah, who maybe not peak Okudah anymore, or even close, but still a bigger name, a guy that had a ton of potential at one point. So it is interesting looking at the additions they made. But yeah, I think the Bears are working with enough firepower. I think they're good enough defensively. And I think they have the young, hot, offensive-minded head coaching candidate. They got the best guy on the market. And so I think that has to account for something as well, man. But it is interesting with the Vikings, man. I don't know I don't know how to gauge them. When you switch your quarterback like that season to season.
It doesn't matter. I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you,
the playoffs.
won 14 games. I don't trust Kevin
Doesn't
O'Connell.
matter.
Like, I don't take them seriously. Like, every year we can keep talking about them in the regular season and how good this roster is and defensively and so on and so forth. And then I just don't take them seriously. And I might be eating crow in a couple months, Scotty. But I just don't take the kids seriously. I don't take their starting quarterback seriously. I didn't love him coming out of Michigan. I know they won the national championship with him. I know he used his legs at Michigan. I just don't think he's the guy. And if you're talking about this year specifically, you're looking at Sam Howell backing him up. Okay, so Sam Howell or a rookie essentially coming off of a lower body injury last year that put him out for the entire season. I'll be interested to see what Minnesota looks like. They're one of my teams that when we get to the tiers, I feel like I can make the argument for this season alone, not the future, but for this season alone, knocking them down a tier. But for right now, when you look around the NFC, when you do talk about that roster, they are talented enough to be one of the playoff contenders. I'm not in on the quarterback, and I'm not in on the head coach. So we'll see. But speaking of great regular season, here we go again in the postseason. That division winner that won 15 games last year, the Detroit Lions, next up on the docket, Scotty. They lose Aaron Glenn. He goes to the Jets, the head coach. They lose Ben Johnson. He's within the division at Chicago.
Yeah.
What do you got for me with the Detroit Lions this year, man? I almost called them Detroit Packers for a second because I'm looking at my screen here. But the Detroit Lions, running it back on off, like same prolific offense. Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Jameson Williams. We know what Goff's been doing. How much of a factor do you think the Ben Johnson loss will be?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say until you see it play out. And the reason I say that is because once again, they have so much talent on offense, man.
Agreed. Let me just throw this to you.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, a few years back, there was one of the best offenses of football. And they went to a Super Bowl. They didn't get knocked out the first round. They went to a Super Bowl. And that offense and that team lost its offensive coordinator, Shane Steichen. And then, or I'm sorry, am I thinking of Steichen? Yes, I'm thinking of Steichen.
Yeah.
And then they keep it in-house. What was that next season like with Brian Johnson at the OC?
Yeah.
I mean, we had A.J. Brown. We had Devontae Smith. You had your guy in Jalen Hurts just coming off of a Super Bowl. What that offense look like? So I don't think, I agree with, I still think they're going to be a prolific offense, but I think anyone that chalks it up to a nothing burger, I think that's ridiculous. I think the Ben Johnson loss will be much bigger than people assume.
I think that's very fair. I'm just looking at who they hired. John Morton previously served as the Lions senior offensive assistant in 2022 and then spent the last 2 seasons as the passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos. So it is interesting. We're gonna find out, I guess, because you make a great point with Brian Johnson. I guess the one thing I would argue is this guy at least has experience he's bringing from Denver, right, with Bo Nix and what he was able to do with him as a rookie quarterback. But it's still not Ben Johnson at the end of the day, and he did go to a division rival, which I think just kind of doubles down on it, makes it worse. But all that being said, man, I do think they have enough to make the playoffs, compete in this division. I think they'll be able to figure it out at some point. Maybe they start a little bit slower than they did last year. But I do think it could become a hiccup to the point where maybe they don't win the division, right? Maybe they're the second team in the division this year, which is something that's on my mind, man, because we're going to get into it a little bit later when we get into the tiers, but it's championship or bust for this team. I don't know how else to put it with the Detroit Lions. I'm going to bring it up later when we do Faithful Fanatic with the Eagles and, talking about their window for championships. But what is the window for the Detroit Lions and Jared
Yes.
Goff and this unit that they're working with?
And I'm glad you brought up Jared Goff specifically because that's where my eyes are going right now.
Yeah.
Post Ben Johnson, because Jared Goff traded Matthew Stafford. Stafford goes to LA, wins the Super Bowl a few years ago. Goff has had great success, a resurgence since coming over here. But how much of that, like people love to throw around the word system when it comes to number one in Philadelphia, Scotty.
Yeah.
Jared Goff has been a product of the system in Detroit and the help around him. What does that system look like? How much does it impact and affect Jared Goff's play this year? I will be interested in keeping an eye on what that quarterback looks like because he's a guy that is kind of in that conversation of back end top 10. Is he in the top 10 type of quarterback? That's the way he's been playing the last 2 or 3 seasons. Does he stay around there? Or does he drop off because his OC left and that offense isn't as creative as it once was?
Who did Goff have the meltdown against last season? He had one game where he had a complete meltdown on national television.
Was it Minnesota?
It's either Minnesota or Atlanta. Atlanta was in my mind, but it could be Minnesota given that they played them twice.
Hold on.
Was it 5? Was it 4 interceptions?
They beat the shit out of Minnesota here. They beat Minnesota there. You are right. It was on national television, but did they still win the game is what I'm thinking.
They did, actually. Yeah, they did. 5 interceptions against Houston.
Houston,
man, they've been doing these prolific quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and Jared Goff, completely dirty. 5 interceptions a pop last season for both of them guys. But
trying to find that game.
No, I got it right here.
November 10th.
Yeah, they ended up winning 26-23.
Okay.
He was 15 of 30, 240. I think he did have a late game stretch where he kind of turned it on a bit to win the game. But
yeah, I think it's because if I remember correctly, you're right. Goff was awful in the first half, and Stroud was great in the first half.
And then they switched.
And then Stroud threw for like 14 passing yards in the second half and turned the ball over, and Detroit was able to win the game.
Yeah. So I bring that up to bring up the basement, right? And the basement performance of Jared Goff and what he can be at his worst. We'll see, man. We'll see. Because he's been is it fair? Not a real MVP candidate, but
he's an MVP candidate like Sam Darnold was an MVP candidate.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know. But this is why this division is so interesting to me because hands down they were the best division last year in football.
Yeah,
3 teams make the playoffs, 3 teams with 11 plus wins, right? And I look at Detroit and I go, okay, maybe they're probably going to take a slight step back, right? They're probably not going to go 15-2 again, right? I look at Minnesota and I have questions about JJ McCarthy being able to come in year 1, and then I get to this team, and this is the team that everyone is ever since last year has put them on an ascension, right? And they have. They were a very good team last year, a playoff team. I got that. Quarterback was very good last year at times. And again, I'm just not sold on the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I'm pretty sure we had this conversation last year when we went to Brazil and played them. And then we played them in the postseason and beat them. And I guess like it's just coming from an Eagles fan, like if the standard's the Eagles, well, then that's not fair to anybody from last year. But I'm not a Jordan Love guy. I don't get it, man. I don't get the way people talk about him. ESPN has people that have been covering this league since before I was born, plus a decade before I was born, calling him the best quarterback in the NFC conference. If they had to take him to win a game, if they had to take someone to win a game, it would be him. I look at this receiving core. Now, Matthew Golden out of Texas, maybe that transforms their receiving core. They spent the first-round pick on it this year. Maybe that gives them a much better offense. But I remember looking around at you last year, talking about the Christian Watsons and the Jaden Reeds and the Dotavian Wickses of the world. I don't get the way people talk about this football team. Like they're just loaded with talent at the receiving core. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave at the tight end position. Had to look at my screen to remember their goddamn names. Josh Jacobs was a top 3 to 5 running back last year. Their defense is good. They're going to win around 11 games again. I think they're a playoff team. This team is nowhere near Super Bowl contention. I don't know where people get this notion.
That was a lot. There. I'm trying to think.
And then just give me the offseason of them bitching about the tush push and everything. Like, oh, they disgust me, dude.
I'm just, I'm thinking about it. And, I'm thinking about a guy like Jared Goff, and I'm, thinking of Jordan Love. And I'm thinking, like, who would I rather roll with as my quarterback? And I do think I would go with Jordan Love, man. I don't know.
If I'm being honest, I probably would too. But if the goalpost is Jared Goff, I'm just not all that impressed. Is what I'm talking about. And then people hold him in the same standard of a Jalen Hurts and a Matthew Stafford and a whoever else in a Baker Mayfield. And he's just not Jared Goff. Sure, the other guys, no, he's not in that class, dude. For me. 30, just let me
it's like, because the thing I'm struggling with is like who he has played with, right? Like,
yeah, but the way people talk about those dudes makes me not want to hear it, because I agree with you. I don't think they have a talented, I don't think their wide receivers are talented, but people talk about Jaden Reed and Christian Watson like they're one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFC.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I do feel you. I think they get hyped up for the wrong reasons, though. I think that's where I'm. I've gotten to think over it for a second here, and I think that's where I'll start my explanation, man. I think that they get props for the Jordan Love and the passing game, which fine. Like, he spreads the ball around. He gets these kind of lower branded type of guys involved in the offense. But I think what it comes down to with the Packers, man, is that they do play in a cold weather stadium. They do run the football really well with Josh Jacobs. And they do have a sturdy ass defense, especially their front seven is very sturdy. So, like, when I think of that, and I do want to just bring it back, because the Eagles, to your point, are on a different scale, man, with the levels. It's a blessing to be an Eagles fan, man. The levels that they have at every single position on offense, it is a bit ridiculous. And it's hard to go into a game with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon fucking Barkley, Dallas Goedert, and then that offensive line, and then Jalen Hurts, sure. And then you're going against, Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs, fair.
Yeah.
Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed and rookie wide receiver Matthew Golden. All right, maybe Golden comes out and he's wide receiver 1 and he's good. He's still a rookie, man. He's still a rookie at the end of the day. So I do feel you when it comes to like that standard of Eagles, Super Bowl champions, NFC champions, where you're trying to get to this year. You know what I mean? Like, that's everything that they do, we do better. So, like, on that, I do feel that. Like,
it just goes a little deeper for me than that. Like, they're a good football team. It's just the way people talk about them that is where I start to fade. Like 2 years ago, after 2023, the dude threw for over 4,100 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 picks. I would have heard you then. And I didn't even like him that much going into last year, but I would have heard you then. He's got like 11-6, a good year. It's a respectable year. They didn't go 14-3 like Sam Darnold went. They didn't go 15. They went 11-6. It's a respectable football season. The kid had a 63% completion percentage, 3,300 passing yards, and a 25-11 touchdown to interception ratio with multiple games with multiple turnovers. What am I missing about him and this football team coming off of last year specifically? What happened last year specifically to make you think from his play and that receiving core and all that this team is going to ascend to potential Super Bowl favorites in the NFC or in the NFL at all?
Yeah,
not on that level for me.
I think what it is, man, is when I start to look across the division, I trust Jordan Love more than J.J. McCarthy, and I like their defense more than I like the Detroit Lions defense.
No question.
And maybe we just put Jared Goff and Jordan Love on the same plane.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I like the Packers defense more. I like the fact that they play outdoors in the cold when you get into playoff season.
Yep.
I do. I feel you. You know what the caveat for the Packers, what they have, man, is their last the last two times? Have we beat them in the playoffs twice?
Nah, just last time.
Just this last year. Okay, so maybe they beat the Cowboys the year before in the postseason and then ended up going out in the second round. And then last year they lose to us. So caveat, though, it's the Super Bowl chance. Like, everybody lost to us. You know what I mean? Like we dogged the Commanders out who dogged the Lions out. So, like, I guess I'm just not – what I'm trying to frame here is I'm not – let's just get to the tiers, man. I think it'll explain it a little bit more because
let's pull them up.
Pull them up, man. We put the Lions in Super Bowl contender or champ, Super Bowl champ contenders, whatever you want to call it. But that's more just to not bail them out of the expectations that they have earned over the last couple of seasons with the roster that they have and the regular seasons that they put up. That was just so fraudulent last year against the Commanders at home, man. It was so fraudulent.
2 years ago was what? The NFC Championship in San Fran they lost to, right?
Yeah, which, fine, right?
Yeah.
Fine. You lose at home after winning, 15 games last year?
Yeah.
Losing
to a
two?
Quarterback.
And you lose to a rookie QB? Yeah.
I agree. That's why I said this division is so complex and interesting to me because you look at all these regular season numbers, 3 playoff teams, 15-2, 14-3, 11-6. And at the end of the day, I just go, yeah, they're very good. Do I consider them to be the best of the best? Like, here's where I would have it. I have the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl contenders. We'll get to those in a couple episodes. And then I have AFC teams. The Lions earned it. 15 wins last year. You have to bounce back. They're uber talented on offense. But I feel like because the NFC is so weak, we are bailing them out a little bit. Because if not them, then who? Like, as Eagles fans, are we really just going to sit here and put Philly as the only NFC team that can compete for a Super Bowl? No. Maybe the Rams enter that conversation, or I don't know. San Fran we'll talk about in a couple episodes as well if they get healthy and bounce back. But outside of that, there's not a lot of real competition that has been earned, I guess. Like, I guess we're predicting and we could try to get ahead of the curve. But again, like, what is Minnesota? What is Jordan Love? What have they done to say, hey, they're Super Bowl champion contenders? You haven't shown me a goddamn thing to prove that yet.
It's weird, man. I think, obviously we'll talk about the Rams in a couple weeks as well. They depend a lot on Matthew Stafford's health. I don't know. I guess what I'm coming away with, man, I'm thinking about the Packers, and it is just that the Lions have it too, though. They do run the football well. They get after the quarterback well. But it's just the fact of them being an indoor team, man. Like, I just don't know. You know what I mean? Do you know what like, there's just there's a softness that comes with an indoor team, I feel, especially come postseason. The Rams, the Rams played us tough as hell in Philly, in the snow.
The problem is
but I looked at them the
same
way.
Caveat to what you're saying is, well, I have a solution. We could win 15 games and never have to play an outdoor game in the postseason because it runs through us and the Super Bowl will be indoors and whatever. Problem is, you did that last year and lost to a rookie.
That. Yeah, exactly. And that's best case scenario with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So
like you check those boxes. Oh my God, we don't have to travel to Philly. We don't have to travel to Lambeau. Yeah. We don't have to travel here.
Congrats.
But I will say, to throw this to you as well, Minnesota's in the same boat.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I just don't. I think we just don't take them as seriously to talk about them getting a road to the Super Bowl.
The Packers have the caveat of losing to the Super Bowl champions in the first round.
Yeah, again, I just don't like the way
they have
I
the
just
caveat.
don't like the way people talk about them. Like again, like in this day and age of an 18-week schedule of 17 games, like 11-6 is good. Like it's good. It ain't mind blowing. And then you look at the numbers and you look at the roster offensively, and I just go, okay, yeah, they're a good football team. They're potentially very good. When you guys start sitting here and talking about them being atop the NFC and Jordan Love's the top NFC quarterback, well, now you fucking lost me because they haven't shown any of that. And then to add on to it all they did was complain all offseason.
Yeah.
So now I really don't like it because you whine when you lose.
Yeah, I do feel you. That's like an image of their coach in a sense there, right?
Right.
So whiny baby.
Whiny.
So yeah, I feel you. I guess I'm just a little bit higher on Jordan Love is where it is. Like I do. I look at the weapons he plays with, and I'm like, he makes good out of that. Like I don't know. That's kind of what I come away with when I look at his numbers and I look at the roster. And then once again, I do. You know how I feel about when you have a great running game mixed with a great defense, and then you throw in, the physicality, the cold weather come postseason. If they win their division, and they can get home field advantage and play Detroit in Lambeau, right? That's a whole different ball game. So we'll see, man. Ultimately, yeah, I think the point here is that are the Lions Super Bowl contenders without their coordinators? We're gonna find out. We give them the respect. But we talked about it offline, man. It was we were on the border there.
It's going to be interesting.
I don't know. We'll
Green Bay, for what it's worth, has one of those early buys. They have a week 5 bye, so they're gonna have a long trek and stretch ahead of them to get there. But let's get into one of the more fun parts of this show, and that is our divisional fantasy drafts. I believe I had the last pick first time. Could be wrong. Don't really remember. It was over a week ago, but I will throw the ball to you. It's in your court. Who are you going with in the 1-1 of the NFC North?
It is tough. It's tough. There's two guys that instantly came to mind, and then I had like counterparts where I'm like, oh, well, that guy's pretty good as well. I'm gonna go off the top of the block. I'll go Aiden Hutchinson.
All right.
And is he listed? What's he listed as? It's got to be
defensive end.
Yeah. Okay, that works.
That's a lineman. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take Jettas.
Fair. I'll take Amon-Ra. That Jettas is who I first thought about. I won't lie to you.
All right, I'm going to come out and take. I know there's another really good back, and all these backs are pretty good. There's another really good one, but dynamic wise, I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs.
Fair enough. Yeah, I feel that. That's a good one. Let's see. We got the Bears, Vikings, Lions. Let me get Xavier McKinney, safety.
All right. Should probably start looking at my defense, but I won't yet, and I'll take Sam Laporta.
Fair enough. That's another good one.
I'm just trying to score points, brother. Trying to put points on the board against me.
Let's see here. I'm going to go Jalen Johnson, CB from the Bears.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Now Dill's got to do some homework. Which one do I want? All right. I'm going to go with. I'll take Rashawn Gary.
That's so funny, man. I was literally just looking at his profile here.
Gotcha.
Seriously. That is hilarious. Let me see here. Let me go ahead. I'll take my man TJ Edwards, linebacker.
All right. All right. I got to grab one of these. Let's see. Go ahead and take. Damn. I'm going to take DJ Reed.
Fair enough. I'm going to take DJ Moore, wide receiver.
All right. I'm going to take Brian Branch.
Nice. I'm going to take Byron Murphy Jr., corner from Minnesota.
That's what I was looking at next. All right. Well, to go against everything I just said, I'm going to take Jordan Love.
Fair enough. He's the best quarterback in the division. Does that mean anything, though? So you took Jordan Love. I'll go ahead and take Jacobs, running back.
Joshua.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and take. Damn. Let's take Edgerrin Cooper.
That's linebacker.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, you know what is tough? I was sitting here looking through the defensive linemen, man. And like, don't get me wrong, there's some good ones for sure. But I feel like they're all roughly like similar caliber, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I mean, Javon Hargrave was not productive last year. I think he was injured most of the season.
Yeah. Jonathan Allen got let go. I know who I want.
I'll go with Sweat.
God damn it.
It's funny because like I really didn't want to pick who I thought you would pick, if that makes sense. Because I was going to say Grady Jarrett.
Yeah, that's where I'm going anyway.
Interesting enough.
You're going to waste time.
And then
you have a tight end and a QB to get.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, give me Jared Goff.
Figured that was incoming. All right, let's see. So Jettas, DJ Moore, and Amon-Ra are off the board. Who do I believe is the next best wide receiver in this division? Is it Jameson Williams? Is it Rome Odunze? Yeah, let me give him some love. I'm going to take Rome Odunze.
Fair enough. It's his breakout year this year.
Yeah, more than 3 tutties.
Man. Tight end, I'm going to go with name value with TJ Hawkinson, but there is part of me that like wants to go with the Chicago tight end. I'll just throw that out there. But
I would probably take TJ still too, but maybe I would take Cole Kmet. I don't know.
Younger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really all that's behind the idea.
Yeah. All right. And simply because I don't feel like fishing for a corner in this division, I'm just going to take Super Bowl champion Isaiah Rodgers to round out
Fair enough.
My roster here. All right. So we will get those posted. We'll get them out on the social media. Once we round these all up, we'll post them day by day after we get through the divisional previews. You guys can vote on them: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you guys are most active. But where we're most active is our Twitter account at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. Check out the link tree in the bio. It'll take you to every platform we're on, but more specifically, check out the YouTube channel. We have the DSM Philly YouTube channel, which we will be live on shortly on the Faithful Fanatic Show. And we have the Turf Talk YouTube channel that you can subscribe to right here all throughout football season. We also have Scotty Talks NBA's YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
All NBA and off season and this upcoming season, you can get all your NBA content there. So make sure to subscribe for myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media.